till 10th standard. They belong to class 3 according to BG Prasad classification. They live in Pakka house. Overcrowding is present and bad ventilation is also present. There is a practice of open defecation. Water supply is through the municipal water supply and it is stored in containers.
Okay. What else? What other history will be important in a case of respiratory tract infection? Socioeconomic history.
Hygienic practices.
Yes. Okay. Okay. History of smoking or firewood cooking also would be significant.
Okay, sir.
One more history we have left in feeding is bottle feeding. Okay. In a 3-year-old, yes, in India it is very much possible in a 3-year-old having a bottle feeding. So in a smaller child, it will become more relevant if the parents are practicing bottle feeding without hygiene. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, can you summarize your history? I think your history is complete.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Here is a 3-year, 2-month-old male child born out of non-consanguineous marriage belonging to class 3 according to BG Prasad classification, who is completely immunized with normal developmental milestones with diet which is 19% deficient in calories and 15.58% deficient in proteins, came with history of cough since 6 days, fever since 5 days and difficulty in breathing since 3 days. So according to my history, it may be a case of lower respiratory tract infection.
Okay, your history summary is almost fine. So lower respiratory tract infection, probably etiology also you can mention here. So
Okay.
there is no complications. So probably a viral etiology you can mention. There is no harm. Okay.
And you could probably mention other things also. In a history, there was history of grunting. Probably you had mentioned history of refusal of feeds. Those also you should be mentioning in the summary because it helps in
Grading the severity.
grading the severity of pneumonia or a lower respiratory tract infection in this.
So practical examination point of view, one tip is, so when you take a history, so be ready with the summaries. Okay. So whenever you are presenting in the end, so examiner will not have patience to ask all of your history. So we'll just say summarize. So if your summary is good, then he will go for other discussion. If your summary is bad, then he will not listen to you. So whenever you take a history, just spend 5 more minutes in summarizing the case. Okay, it will look good. The whole of the summary, that your thought process should be there. Okay, it's for the practical examination.
And one more important history you have left in summary probably. There was a history of previous pneumonia probably at 2 years of age.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, probably you could have mentioned that because that will help us in thinking about few more conditions.
Okay. So anything else, Dr. Shruti?
So I would like to summarize this case as a 3-year, 2-month child born of non-consanguineous marriage with complaints of cough, fever since 5 days and difficulty in 3 days with lethargy, grunting with no Sakra cycle and no blues discoloration. Completely immunized with normal developmental milestone with deficient in this much calorie protein. Most probably it could be a lower respiratory tract infection of viral etiology. So if you add more of your history in your summary, it would catch more points.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Because during summary, better to mention about the chief complaints first, then you come to the other histories like socio-economic status, where it belongs to, and whether child is immunized. You can mention it later. That is what Dr. Shruti meant.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
So examination, yeah.
Coming to
And
examination.
according to, sorry to interrupt.
It's okay, sir.
According to this history, according to IMNCI, which severity it will belong to? A 3-year-old with a fever, cough, cold, fast breathing, and probably a history of retractions you mentioned, and
Yes,
there
sir.
is a history of grunting and lethargy.
Pink, sir.
Yeah, pink means
Pink means like he should be admitted and he should be treated in a hospital setting.
yeah.
Yes.
It will belong to a severity of very severe pneumonia. There is
Yes,
a
ma'am.
history of general danger signs like refusal to feed, lethargy, and a grunting. And there is history of fever, cough, fast breathing, and a chest retraction. So it belongs to a very severe pneumonia. Immediately to be admitted, start on IV antibiotic.
Yes,
If
sir.
the child has only fever, cough, cold, fast breathing, and lower chest contractions, it will belong to a category of severe pneumonia. It won't have any other history of any other general danger signs like cyanosis, convulsions, refusal of feeds, or a lethargy, or a repeated vomiting. And a case of simple pneumonia will have fever, cough, and fast breathing without retractions or any other general danger signs that can be treated with oral antibiotic. That is the basic classification according to IMNCI. Yeah, you have answered it correctly. Yeah.
Yeah. Next examination.
So examination, general survey, child is irritable, alert, it moves around, it is examined in a sitting position. Vital signs, temperature is 100.4 degree Fahrenheit, respiratory rate 60 cycles per minute, abdominothoracic, there is flaying of the alanasi, use of accessory muscles seen. Pulse rate 120 beats per minute, normal rhythm, volume, character, measured on right radial artery, no radio-radial delay or radiofemoral delay. Blood pressure 100 by 80 mmHg measured over right brachial artery in supine position.
Probably you can mention temperature where it was measured, whether it's oral cavity or an axilla.
Axillary, sir.
Okay. So in a respiratory child, the SpO2 becomes the fifth vital. Okay. You can mention SpO2 if you are provided with a SpO2 probe. Okay.
Okay.
And one just start before starting examination for your exam purpose, one tip is, so while writing you can write your examination findings in a order, but while doing your examination be little more intelligent. Pediatric population is not like adult population. You can't follow a system while you're examining. So least painful examinations are done first and the painful examinations are done next. And most of the findings are seen when you are uh, when you observe the child away from the child. Okay, when you're standing away from the child, you should observe for many signs. Okay, then least painful examination, then painful examination. Maybe when you go to a child, if child is uh, comfortable and playing, you can auscultate first and do rest of the examination later. But while writing or while interpreting, you have to maintain a order. Okay.
Oh, okay, ma'am.
Okay. So
Probably percussion would be done at the end so that child won't cry.
child won't cry. Okay. So one thing is you've mentioned a general survey properly. When you are going to mention conscious, oriented to time place person, at what age you can mention that? Any idea?
More than 5 years, ma'am.
Yeah, more than 5 to 6 years, you can mention that conscious, oriented to time place person. Otherwise, you can just mention irritable or alert, or interested in surroundings, or playful. Okay, that you can mention. Okay, continue. So, what is your interpretation of vitals? What do you think? Is a stable child, unstable child? What is it?
Ma'am,
What is the
there is increased in temperature, so there is fever also, and there is increased respiratory rate.
okay? Can you tell the cutoff for respiratory rate according to age?
Yes, ma'am. Less than 2 months, more than 60 breaths per minute is fast breathing, and 2 months to 1 year, more than 50 is increased fast breathing, and 1 to 5 years, more than 40 cycles per minute is fast breathing.
Yeah, very good. So you have mentioned the respiratory rates for his age. He is breathing fast. Yes, that's your interpretation. And there is a flaring of ala nasal. Okay. There's also indicates a distress. So some other points like head nodding in a younger child, and use of accessory muscles as you have mentioned,
Grunting.
and grunting. These are all the points towards severe respiratory distress. Okay.
That also you can mention along with the clearing of this. Yeah.
So in this child, the pulse rate is around 140, 150, and BP is low according to age. What's your interpretation? What do you think of?
Toxic, ma'am, like bacteremia.
Yeah.
Probably septicemia. Yeah.
Septicemia and respiratory failure along with the circulatory failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So
Severe
yes.
septicemia.
severe septicemia you can
Yeah.
think of. And SpO2 as a final fifth vital you can mention. Okay, next. And respiratory system examination usually done in sitting position, okay, ideally, or standing position in an older kid.
Hmm.
But in a younger kid, in a recommended position. Yeah.
And one more thing, hydration you haven't mentioned. That is also one of the vitals.
Okay.
Or you can mention in head to toe examination, because in a younger kid, if there is a decreased feeding for longer 2-3 days, then there can be a dehydration also.
Okay.
Okay. So head to toe examination.
Skull shape is normal, fontanelles are closed, hair is black, no color changes, eyes, no pallor, icterus, KF rings, bitoid spots or dryness, ears, no discharge seen, nose, flaring of ala nasal seen, no nasal deviations, lips, no cleft lip, no cyanosis seen, mouth, no chiliosis or stomatitis, bleeding gums, tongue, no cyanosis, appears to be normal. Palate, no high arch palate or cleft palate. Teeth, normal dentition present. Neck appears to be normal. Nails, no clubbing. Skin, no skin lesions seen. Abdomen and genitalia, normal. Spine and back appears to be normal. Lower limbs appears to be normal. No edema or lymphadenopathy seen.
Okay. So in a head to toe examination, you should be specific, because at the end of the history, you know this is a pneumonia case. It's good you have seen all the nutritional deficiency points also, but you need not mention in all cases. If you get the anthropometry in a child is wasted or stunted, that time it becomes relevant. Otherwise, in a routine case, you need not mention. You should give more importance to the related to this case. So in this case, cleft palate will become important, because we have got a past history of pneumonia, and other things like cyanosis, clubbing, yes, and lymphadenopathy. All these things will become important. Other things you can skip if it is normal. So first you should tell the positive findings, and rest of the things you can tell it as normal. If the examiner specifically asks, then you can tell. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next.
If there is
Anthropometry.
a edema
Yes,
you
sir.
have mentioned now, in a
Yes, sir.
1-year-old child, where will you elicit the edema? And in a older child, 5-year-old, where will you see the edema?
Sir, edema, congestive cardiac failure.
Yeah.
The site of edema where you're going to elicit in an examination.
If you are thinking of a
Sir,
dependent
nutrition.
edema, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
In
tell me.
quasi-occur, there will be edema. Sir.
Yeah, that's what. In a if when a child is more in a recumbent position, then this you will look for the sacral edema. If child is
Pre-sacral,
if child is ambulatory, then you will look for the pedal edema.
Yeah.
Regarding the respiratory case, two more things you should look for. Okay. So if the history is like suggestive of TB, then you have to mention about the BCG scar, and you should look for any Monto test marking is present. If the child is hospitalized for 2-3 days, because in your exams you will get a hospitalized kit only, so you should look for the test marking of Monto test. Okay, if the history is suggestive of TB. So what is the importance of BCG scar? So BCG scar, if it is present, is TB is ruled out?
No, ma'am.
Okay, what is the protection rate of BCG then?
Protection, like if the child has taken BCG, it will be protected from TB up to 10 years. But
Okay.
if the child is immunocompromised or it has been exposed with the contacts, there are chances that the child may acquire TB.
Okay, so usually the protection rate of BCG is from 0 to 85%. Okay, this is white, and the BCG examination will, BCG vaccination is protective against severe tuberculosis. Okay,
Like
so
a CNS
CNS
tuberculosis,
tuberculosis, disseminated tuberculosis.
miliary tuberculosis.
If
Yeah.
even if the child is vaccinated against BCG, still the child can have tuberculosis. So it will not rule out TB. Okay, that you should remember. And Ponto test, usually that's the intradermal test, usually given in right or left, more commonly left forearm. Okay, there will be an injection mark and one a circle. Okay, and the time of the exam, the injection will be written on that. And while reading, we look for redness, induration. Okay, what
Yes,
is the length of induration which has happened? Okay, and
yes.
we'll measure it horizontally. Okay,
Hmm.
if it is more than 10 mm, it is significant. So why
Yes.
I'm telling is, when you have a history of tuberculosis, history suggestive of tuberculosis, and while examination, if you see a Monto of 15 mm or 20 mm, induration of 20 mm, then you can, then it will become a positive thing. So strongly you can tell in your diagnosis that it is likely to be a tubercular etiology. Okay, so you should look for that.
Yeah, ma'am.
And if the history is suggestive of tuberculosis, then lymphadenopathy. Why we are in more stressing on TB is, it is likely that you will get a chronic case in your examination. That time TB will become important. And in India, all case discussion, respiratory case discussion is not complete without touching the TB. So we are giving importance to TB in every step. That's it. Okay. Next.
Yes, ma'am.
Anthropometry.
Yes, ma'am. Weight is 14 kg, within which is within 50th percentile. Height 100 centimeter, which is also within 97 percentile. Head circumference of 50 centimeter, that is within 97th percentile. Mid-arm circumference of 15 centimeter, and chest circumference of 60 centimeter.
Okay. So anthropometry is important. Okay, in any pediatric case, anthropometry is important. For an undergraduate, you should give more importance to immunization, nutrition, development, and anthropometry. If you miss other things also, these things will save you in your examination. So you should tell write the anthropometry in a proper way. So better to make a table with the columns like observed value, expected value, and interpretation. Okay, then in then your anthropometric measurements like weight, height, head circumference, mid-arm circumference, and if he's a less than 5-year-old, you should check for weight, for height also. Okay, you need not mention chest circumference in all cases. And you should write the observed value. Observed value is what you get here. 14 kgs in this child. 14 kg is your observed weight, and expected weight is, you have to look for the chart and write a 50th centile for that age. Of that age. And what is your interpretation? Whether the child is normal or child is wasted or overweight, that you have to mention in your interpretation. Okay, and height the same way. And mid-arm circumference, yes, 15 centimeter. Is it normal or abnormal?
It is normal, ma'am.
Okay, that you have to mention. Head circumference you have already mentioned, and weight for height also you have to mention. Okay, observed, expected, and interpretation. 3 columns you have to make, and every anthropometric measurement should be written in that. And it is intelligent to tell the which charts you have referred. Okay, so which charts you have referred for this baby?
WHO charts, ma'am.
Yeah, for less than 5 years, we'll refer the WHO charts, and more than 5 years, we'll refer the IAP code charts. So if the child is more than 5 years, then weight, height, and BMI will mention. In that time, we're not going to see head circumference, not going to see weight for height. Okay, that difference you should make. So that while presenting this, it should be like, anthropometric measurements are interpreted according to WHO growth charts. Weight is observed is 14 kg, expected is this much, and it is between this percentile, or it is between this standard deviation, and child is normal or wasted, whatever it is. one line it should come. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Next.
Coming to the systemic examination, I would like to examine the respiratory system in detail. Upper respiratory tract, no flaring of alaneza is seen. Air sinuses, no tenderness of the frontal or the maxillary sinuses. Pharynx, posterior wall appears to be congested. Larynx is not examined. Lower respiratory tract in examination.
Okay. In upper respiratory tract, start from nose, nasal septum, oropharynx, tonsils you have missed here.
Okay.
Tonsils you have to mention. Okay.
Ah.
And the posterior pharyngeal wall.
And larynx you need not mention.
Because larynx is not expected in pediatrics.
Do you expect a sinus tenderness in a 3-year-old child?
Actually, no, sir. We can't elicit.
Yeah. If you could not
Sinuses are not well developed at this age, so sinusitis is not expected in this age.
Yes, sir.
Child. Yeah.
Coming to the lower respiratory tract examination, inspection, shape of chest is elliptical in shape, movements with respiration, it is decreased on right side, trachea appears to be in center, both nipples are at same level, apical beat is not seen, subcostal and intercostal retractions are seen, and there is also use of accessory muscles, no scars, sinuses, dilated veins are seen. Palpation. Okay.
Wait. Okay. So you've almost mentioned everything. So if trachea is deviated, what it signifies?
Ma'am, underlying conditions we can rule out, ma'am. If the trachea is pushed to the deceased side, we can it is possible in collapse or fibrosis of the lung. If
Yes.
the trachea is deviated to the opposite side, there is possibility of pleural effusion or pneumothorax or hydropneumothorax, ma'am.
Yeah. So tracheal position indicates the mediastinal shift. Okay.
Yes.
So you get apical impulse and tracheal position, they will indicate the mediastinal shift. What you have told is correct. If it is pushed in case of pleural effusion and pneumothorax, and it will be on the same side if it is a fibrosis. Okay, and trachea can be normally slightly deviated to a right side. Okay,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
also possible. And
There
what
is
is
a
trail sign?
decrease.
Trail sign?
Yes, ma'am. It is done on inspection. Like if there is any deviation of the trachea, that side the clavicular head of sternocleidomastoid muscle will be prominent.
Yeah, very good, very good.
There is a decreased movement on right side of the chest in this case. So, what are your thoughts?
Sir, if it is a pneumonia, if there is consolidation, there will be decreased chest movements or pleural effusion, fibrosis.
Fibrosis, do you expect in this child?
No, sir. No, sir.
Short history, 5 days.
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So
Pleural effusion and to be specific, collapse consolidation. Means consolidation with the collapse will have a localized decreased movement of the chest.
So one thing you have to mention is depression of shoulder or drooling of shoulder. Okay.
Yes.
In an
Yes,
older child, maybe it will indicate usually apical lobe collapse. Okay, apical lobe volume loss. If it's there, then there will be drooping of shoulder. And inspection, you can mention a spine also. Is there any kyphoscoliosis?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Next.
Ma'am, like a spine I have mentioned in head to toe examination.
Head to toe spine.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. Coming to the palpation, all inspectory findings are confirmed. No tenderness, no rise in local temperature. Position of trachea is central. Chest expansion is decreased on right side. Vocal fremetus could not be elicited.
Okay. So apical impulse you have mentioned here. Palpation?
No, I forgot to mention.
Yeah, no problem. So apical impulse, it's good to see, and you should know the interpretation of apical impulse also. It's not like adults. Okay, up to 2 years of age, the apical impulse position is in mid-clavicular line in 4th intercostal space. Okay,
yes,
as the child grows, the apical impulse is pushed down and medially. Okay, it will come to 5th intercostal space and 1 centimeter medial to mid-clavicular line. Okay.
Yes,
While
ma'am.
interpreting, you should have that idea.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So here, the chest expansion is decreased
Yes.
in inspection and palpation. So here also our differential diagnosis is, it could be pneumonia or it could be a pleural effusion. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in this patient, I couldn't elicit the vocal fermenters, ma'am. So in all other, like in kids, it will be difficult. So there are any alternative
See,
to
vocal
assess?
fermenters you need not do, because vocal fermenters and vocal resonance will move in same direction. If you get a vocal
Yeah.
resonance properly, then the same finding you can write in vocal fermenters also. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So while auscultating, so you can elicit vocal resonance. In a 3-year-old, he may not cooperate and repeating the same 1 or 99 or something. So while crying only, you have to elicit what is
Okay.
the vocal resonance, and the same finding you can write it in vocal fermenters also.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
On doing percussion, dullness was felt on the right mammary, infraaxillary, and infrascapular regions.
Okay.
So what
Next,
is your thoughts in this case?
sir, it may be consolidation.
Yeah, which lobe or which area to be specified?
Sir, most probably middle and the lower lobe will maybe involved, sir.
Right lower lobe. Yeah.
Right lower lobe.
Okay.
Okay. So little on percussion. I assume that you all know the method of percussion. You have done it in your clinicals. So,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you are aware of the different types of percussion note. Because
Yes.
resonant note we see in a normal lung, and
Yes.
tympanic note, if you percuss a normal abdomen, it is a tympanic note, right? So
Yes, ma'am.
when there is a air-filled lung, so there will be resonant note. When there is more air, there will be hyperresonant. Right?
Hyperresonant.
So in emphysema and pneumothorax, there will be hyperresonant note.
Hmm.
If the chest cavity is filled with fluid, then there is stony dull note. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
when there is a fluid while percussing, also you will feel the pain in your middle phalanx. That's also indirect indication that it is a stony dull note. Right.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
a percussion, if the chest cavity is filled with air, there will be more resonance. If there is a fluid, there will be dullness. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
usually in consolidation,
Yeah.
we call it as impaired note.
Impaired note or a dull.
Turn
So
note.
it will be never be stony dull. Okay.
Stony dullness, it's classical of pleural effusion. You will feel that pain also when you percuss.
Hmm. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Then
Yes, ma'am.
auscultation.
On auscultation, breath sounds were heard. Bronchial breath sounds were heard on the right mammary, infraaxillary, and infrascapular regions, ma'am. Which suggests consolidation of the lower lobe, right lower lobe.
Okay.
Next,
Percussion finding you have told dull. Okay. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Then vocal resonance could not be elicited, ma'am.
yeah, that's what.
Any
Vocal
other added sounds you were able to hear? Like
No, sir. I
by
couldn't hear
repetition?
any other added sound, sir.
It is better to mention that no other added sounds were heard. No wrong
Okay.
repetitions heard.
Okay, sir.
So
Because
while
in a pediatric age group, it is less likely to get a lobar finding or a bronchial breath sounds at a localized area. More of a pediatric pneumonia will be, most of them will be bronchopneumonia. They'll be having a generalized crepitations or a bronchi along with the normal vesicular breath sounds, mostly. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
so what's your diagnosis?
Ma'am, other systems are normal,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay.
Summary, should I repeat, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. Repeat your summary and tell me your diagnosis. And
Okay.
one thing
Okay.
about other system examination, just go to other system examination. So there is no hepatomegaly or splenomegaly. If you get a hepatomegaly in this child, is it a normal finding or abnormal finding, or any other thing you can think of? So
If you get a liver palpable, okay. So
Yes,
when
sir.
will you consider it as significant, and what can be the other causes in this case?
I'm not sure, sir.
Yeah.
okay.
If the uh, if the liver is palpable within the age appropriate measurement limits and the consistency of the liver is soft, okay, and borders are rounded, it may be just due to a hyperinflation and a push down liver. If the liver is firm or sharp borders or a irregular surface, then only, or a measurement more than the age expected this thing liver span, okay, then only you take it as a significant hepatomegaly. In
For
these
undergraduate
cases,
level, you need not remember age expected liver values, but what you remember is liver could be a palpable in a respiratory case, even though the abdomen or hepatic system is not involved in the disease because of the push down liver. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Summary.
Summary. Here is a 3-year, 2 months old male child born out of non-consanguineous marriage, presented with complaints of cough since 6 days, fever since 5 days, difficulty in breathing since 3 days. On examination, there was fever, no pallor, cyanosis or clubbing. On examination of respiratory system, chest expansion decreased on the right side, chest retractions were seen, the trachea is central, dullness was felt on percussion in the right mammary, infra-axillary and infrascapular areas, and also on auscultation, bronchial breath sounds are heard in the right mammary, infra-axillary, infrascapular areas. So according to my history and examination, my provisional diagnosis be like it is a case of lower respiratory tract infection, most probably severe pneumonia.
Okay, so in this,
so probably the provisional diagnosis after examination you can localize a bit more.
Okay.
Lower respiratory tract infection, yeah, correct. So whether it is a severe pneumonia or it is a very severe pneumonia according to IMNCI classification.
Sir,
As we discussed earlier, this
yes,
child
it
had a
very
refusal
severe
to feed.
pneumonia.
Yeah, okay. So anatomically, what is the involvement you think about? Because
Lobar
lower
pneumonia.
respiratory involvement can be a bronchiolitis or can be a alveolar involvement, bronchopneumonia or lobar pneumonia. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, anatomically, lobar pneumonia, sir.
Okay, which lobe probably would be?
Right lower lobe, sir.
Okay, okay, very good.
etiologically,
Etiologically, ma'am, it may be a viral etiology, ma'am.
so this will contrast your findings. You are telling all findings related to lobar pneumonia and you are giving etiology as viral. Okay, so viral pneumonias are not lobar pneumonias, they are bronchopneumonias.
If you get a lobar picture, it is very likely to be a bacterial. And
etiology.
other things also, the child with refusal to feed and a lethargy is more likely to be a sick child with the bacterial pneumonia.
So
mostly.
question you may get at this point is, how do you differentiate viral pneumonia and bacterial pneumonia? So your positive findings for bacterial pneumonia is sick child, toxic looking with danger signs like refusal to feed and lethargy. Okay, these are the positive, and you are getting the examination findings which are finding from lobar pneumonia. See, these are the positive signs to say it is bacterial pneumonia. If viral kind of a picture, the child is relatively stable. Okay, in between febrile period child is active, or you may get a history of similar complaints in a sibling or a family member, and you will get a generalized picture, like you may hear a crepitations all over the lung or in specified lung areas. Okay, so that will point more towards the viral etiology. Okay.
Whether it is a recurrent pneumonia, child had a previous episode of pneumonia, what do you think? What is your interpretation?
Is it fitting into recurrent pneumonia?
No, ma'am, it is not fitting into recurrent pneumonia.
So with history, we're not very sure whether it was a pneumonia episode or not, or even though if it is a pneumonia episode, with the definition, it's not fitting in.
There was a 1 year, 2 months gap.
Okay. Yeah. So examiner says, why it can't be a pneumothorax? What's your answer?
Ma'am, there is no history of trauma to the chest.
There can be a spontaneous, spontaneous pneumothorax also. So why it can't be?
Examination wise, okay, what you have got: chest movement, vocal primitive, vocal resonance, percussion, red sound. What do you expect in a case of a pneumothorax?
In pneumothorax, on percussion, it will be
So
hyper
we'll do one by one, so it will be easier. Movement, what it will be in pneumothorax?
movement will be decreased, ma'am.
Okay, it will
Okay.
be same as pneumonia. Okay.
No,
And what about the mediastinal shift?
mediastinal will be shifted, ma'am. Trachea will be shifted to the
Can be or
opposite side.
maybe
the-
may or may not be. Huh? Yeah.
Shifted
Oh.
to same side or an opposite side?
Opposite side, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, very
So
good.
mediastinal shift in form of brachial deviation or apical impulse. Okay. May be seen or may not be seen depending on the severity of pneumothorax. Okay. Then vocal parameters, what will happen to what will happen in pneumothorax?
Vocal parameters and resonance will be decreased,
Vocal parameters and resonance?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tell.
It will be decreased, ma'am. Vocal parameters resonance. Then percussion, there will be
What will happen in pneumonia?
in pneumonia, it will be decreased, ma'am.
Vocal parameters
Vocal resonance. Is it decrease or increase?
increase.
Sorry, ma'am. In pneumonia, it will be increased, ma'am.
Okay. So at this point, I want to comment like you can't by heart the findings. Okay. So you should know the logic behind the increase or decrease in breath sounds. Okay. So what
Yes.
are breath sounds? These are sound vibration. They are traveling from air media, that is a lung, and then through the chest wall to your earpiece. Okay. So we all know sound is better conducted in solid than liquid than in air. Okay. So in these three media, air is a poor conductor of sound. In pneumonia, what happens is there is a solidification of alveoli. So sound is better conducted in a solid media. That's why the vocal parameters and vocal resonance are increased. When there is pneumothorax, there is a air in the pleural space, or that air space is increased. That's why the sound is decreased. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's how you have to remember. Just you have to apply your logic and decide. When there is air and fluid in the pleural cavity, the sounds are decreased. When there is a solidification, sounds are increased.
Increased. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in percussion, what happens in pneumothorax and what happens in pneumonia?
Ma'am, in pneumothorax percussion, the hyper resonant, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, very
So
good.
you should know the logic. When there is air,
Yeah, ma'am.
there is a resonant. When there is more air, there is hyperresonant. That's it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And pneumonia, there will be an impaired now.
Impaired. Yeah.
Okay. What happens to breath sounds?
Breath sounds in pneumothorax, it will be absent, all, ma'am. If it is a very massive, very severe, breath sounds will be absent. Here in consolidation, we can hear bronchial breath sounds, ma'am.
Yeah. Bronchial breath sounds and sometimes crepitations.
Crepitations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have reached the provisional diagnosis. So how will you investigate the case? And how will you treat?
Yes, sir. I would like to do the investigations like CBC, sir. Then ESR, it will be increased in ESR. Then CRP, chest
Okay. In a
X-ray.
CBC, what specifically you will see in this case?
Sir, like if it a bacterial as a etiology, there will be increase in the WBC, total leukocyte count, sir.
Specifically, which fraction?
Lymphocytes.
Neutrophil will be predominant in a bacterial infection.
Yes, sir. Neutrophils.
And in the peripheral smear, what we specifically will see in a suspected bacterial pneumonia?
Toxic granules or shift to left, we are going to see. So basically the management, the investigation part differs where you are. Okay, if you're working in a periphery setup, you need not work up all the severe pneumonia cases. Okay, but if the child is in a tertiary care setup, you have to work up the case. So usually what we do is CBC. So as Dr. Prasad mentioned, there will be a leukocytosis, neutrophilic predominance. Okay. So in case of bacterial pneumonia, okay, and viral picture, there can be leukocyte count can be a normal or maybe low in some viral cases. Okay.
Hemoglobin will suggest a nutritional
status of the baby. And CRP is usually high in case of bacterial pneumonia. Okay. It's not a compulsory finding for pneumonia management, but it will suggest the infection. Okay, ESR we are not going to do it regularly in a tubercular etiology or anything else in a chronic condition. Then only ESR. Otherwise, we are not going to do.
Anything else?
Then chest X-ray, Montos
Why
test
chest
to.
X-ray?
Sir, as it is a severe pneumonia, we have to localize the anatomically. We have to localize whether the whole lung, the severity. We have to categorize the patient. So
As
we
it is a very severe pneumonia. Severe
yes,
pneumonia also you need not get taken chest X-ray as such. So what is
yes,
the indication of a chest X-ray in a
uh,
case of pneumonia?
yes, sir.
What
If
are
it
the
is the
indications?
yes, sir. If it is a very severe pneumonia, then
Yeah,
if
very good.
there are any complications of pneumonia, if
Yeah,
there is no response to the antibiotics, if the
yeah,
diagnosis is not clear and we are not very sure about the pneumonia, and if the child is malnourished or there is any history of post-measles
yeah,
status, sir.
Yes, very
yeah.
good. This is according to IMNCI. Whatever she has mentioned, those are the indications for severe pneumonia. You need not take a chest X-ray in a simple cough, cold, fever child unless there are complications or whatever the indication she has mentioned.
So how do you interpret a chest X-ray?
Uh, Chest
How do
X-ray,
you
sir.
read a chest X-ray?
Sir,
Any chest
first.
X-ray for yeah.
Sir, plain X-ray of PA view, sir.
Okay.
Tracheal position, central or any deviation. Then the hilar region is looked and the cardiac shadow is looked and the diaphragm is seen, and this costophrenic angle is looked for any fullness or it is normal. If there is any consolidation, there will be white opaque white patches over the lobes. If is a consolidation, we can also appreciate the air bronchograms, sir.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Uh,
How do
then
you differentiate between a pleural effusion and a consolidation? Right lower consolidation or a pleural effusion?
Sir, in consolidation, the outer margin will be almost irregular, sir. But in pleural effusion, we can see that the demarcation line will be very straight.
Okay, may not be a very important point. Yeah.
Uh,
Other than that, which angle you
air
see specifically?
costophrenic angle, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Right-sided costophrenic angle, if it is obliterated, is more likely to be a pleural effusion. If it is intact, it is more likely to be a consolidation. Other than that, what else you will see?
Air bronchogram, sir, which is seen in consolidation, it is
Yeah.
not seen
Yeah.
pleural effusion.
And in pleural effusion, probably uh, it may be homogeneously white, and
Yes,
in a consolidation, maybe it will be a non-homogeneous opacity. That is not a very strong pointer as such. Okay. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Okay, you mentioned Monto test and throat swab. Okay, so Monto test is specifically for tuberculosis. If the history is suggestive or your examination suggestive of tuberculosis,
Mm.
so for a tubercular worker, we do a chest X-ray or Monto test. Okay, Monto test I have already mentioned. It's an intradermal test, and we'll read the Monto test for induration after 72 hours of that thing. Okay, and more than 10 mm is significant. You will measure it horizontally, not vertically, because our lymphatic channels are vertically following, so it may give a false positive results. That's why we read the Monto test only horizontally. Okay, so when if we get a Monto positive or chest X-ray suggestive of some opacity and in a chronic cough and fever child, then we are going to do the next examination is uh, in a younger child, gastric aspirate for CB-NAT or AFP, or in an older child, sputum for AFP or CB-NAT. So while mentioning investigation, you mention it fully, like Montox and chest X-ray, if positive then GA. Okay, if you're thinking tuberculosis, otherwise don't mention Monto test. In every
Okay.
pneumonia case, you're not going to do a Monto
Whether it
test.
is needed in this case, Monto
Pardon,
test.
sir?
Whether the Monto test is needed in this case.
No, sir. No, sir. There is no history suggesting of TB.
So
Whether
you're
throat swab is needed.
as it is a severe, very severe pneumonia, and if the child is not responding to the antibiotics which we are giving, so we can do it for culture sensitivity or resistance to
Throat
antibiotic.
swab culture sensitivity doesn't have a much value in any case as such. For at this scenario, throat swab for RT-PCR for COVID may be relevant because this child will belong to a severe acute respiratory illness. So probably that will be more significant. Any other investigation would like to do?
If other than COVID, if you're suspecting viral etiology, RT-PCR for H1N1 also you can think of him this child. Otherwise, for other etiologies, it's not relevant to do throat swab in all pneumonia cases.
Only if you think it is a streptococcal infection for a dose of a penicillin, you can do a throat swab, or a H1N1 or a COVID. Only 3 scenarios.
Otherwise, not regularly. Throat swab is not that. So
any other investigations you would like to do?
Blood culture, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, it is very important. Before giving the first dose of antibiotic, you should be mentioning. Yeah. And any other investigations other than that? Yeah, probably this child has grunting and lethargy. Probably, if you anticipate impending respiratory failure, probably one arterial blood gas would help. Okay.
And any severe child with refusal to feed history, so serum electrolytes you can do to see the hydration status and electrolyte abnormality.
If you are suspecting septicemia, then probably you would do other endorphin tests like a kidney function test, liver function test. So probably not needed in this case.
Okay. So if you are mentioning any of the investigation, you should be able to tell why you are doing and what you expect. Okay. That you have to. So we have already mentioned Montel's here. So can you tell me something about CB-NAT testing? What is CB-NAT? Can you elaborate?
Cartridge-based nucleic amplification test, ma'am.
Okay.
It is a now gold standard for detection of the TB.
Yes.
Here the sputum is taken and we can check for the positivity of the TB and also resistance for rifampicin. Both we can get from the test, ma'am.
Very good, very good. Okay, so it is a rifampicin sensitivity also it will give, and it is a PCR based test, and it's a gold standard thing now. And in a 3-year-old, you will use a gastric aspirate. Okay, so there is a confusion in many students that they think that gastric aspirate for extrapulmonary TB. It's not so. So what we assume is when the child has a pulmonary TB, the child cannot expect rate, so it will swallow the child will swallow the sputum. So when we take a gastric aspirate early morning, so what we're thinking is we are checking for the sputum. So if the gastric aspirate is positive for CB-NAT, it means that child has got a pulmonary finding. So that's why I told you when there is a pulmonary finding on X-ray, then only we are going to do a gastric aspirate. Otherwise, we are not going to do a gastric aspirate in any of the pediatric cases. Okay. And one more thing is that CB-NAT is specifically for tubercular mycobacteria. It will be negative for other mycobacteria. Okay. So if the child is having pleural effusion, then that time maybe a pleural tap and pleural fluid also can be sent for CB-NAT, even though the sensitivity is less. Okay. So what is the importance of repeat X-ray? Do you want to do a repeat X-ray after the treatment?
If the child health is deteriorating, then we can do, ma'am.
Yeah, deteriorating. Yes, you are expecting a complication on treatment.
What all complications you would anticipate in a case of pneumonia?
Yes, sir. Empyema, pyeloneumothorax.
Okay. Yeah, empyema and pleural effusion or an empyema or a pneumothorax. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, what is the importance of chest X-ray? I mean, child is improved clinically. So, you want to do a chest X-ray? Parents are asking you. So, we want to we want to make sure that our child is free of pneumonia. So, do a chest X-ray. What do you suggest? after treatment. They'll come back after treatment 7 days for another chest X-ray to you. So what is your advice?
No
So
need
there
to
is,
do again chest X-ray,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah, correct. No need to do for do a repeat chest X-ray for treatment. Okay, so the opacities in the lung, they will take time, at least 3 to 4 weeks to disappear completely. So the responsive treatment is more clinical than the radiological findings. Okay, so if you when child is afebrile, taking orally well, cough and breathlessness is decreased, then we take it as a clinical response. Okay, so there is no need to do a chest X-ray again. If you do it, then the opacities will be still there.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Shruti, anything to be added? Yeah, next.
Management.
How do you treat the child?
Sir, as we have categorized this child has a very severe pneumonia, we have to admit the child immediately, and we have to stabilize the child with giving the oxygen inhalations or IV fluids, and then we have to start the antibiotic treatment to the child. We have to give
better if you represent it as a supportive management and a specific management. So what all supportive management you will do?
So supportive, I would oxygen inhalations, like if the saturation of the oxygen is very less, we have to correct it. And then IV fluids for correction of dehydration.
Okay.
Then
to maintain hydration. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Then specific treatment would be giving antibiotics, sir. Injection ampicillin or gentamicin should be started IM or IV, sir.
Okay.
For 5 days it should be given, and later if the child is improving, then we have to change into oral ampicillin or the IM gentamicin for
so
next.
when to shift from IV to oral antibiotic?
After 5 days, sir, if the child is improving.
There is nothing specific like a 5 days or so. Even if a child presents as a very severe pneumonia, as soon as you stabilize and the child become fit to take orally and child's activity improve, you can shift to a oral antibiotic and discharge. Okay.
Okay. Okay, sir.
And total duration of antibiotic?
10 days, ma'am. Minimum of 10 days.
Okay.
Probably 7 to 10 days will tell. There is no specific thing as such. Okay.
And in
anything else you will address in management treatment?
Sir, like if these drugs are not given, we can also give the chloramphenicol, sir. Then if we are suspecting staphylococcal infection, then we have to add cloxacillin antibiotic for along with this, sir.
Okay, but probably not in this case. Do you suspect staphylococcal in this?
No, sir, I have not suspected.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you will do in management?
In pediatric cases, in supportive management, like you have to address the nutrition.
Yes.
Okay. So you have to mention about
should always include in pediatric age group nutrition, immunization, and follow-up. That you should always mention. Since this child was deficient in some calorie and protein intake, some specific dietary advice to be given to nullify that deficient diet as such. Okay.
Yes.
Immunization, as it was up to date, you should specifically tell the parents when to come for the next immunization visit.
And the child had 2 episodes of pneumonia, so you can emphasize on giving a pneumococcal and influenza vaccination in this child. And whenever you are sending a home a pneumonia child, you always counsel the parents for danger sign. Okay, this child is anyways recovering, so may not be important. But when you are sending a stable child like a pneumonia or no pneumonia case, always you should tell counsel about the danger side. You should tell them. And if danger signs is there, then they should come back immediately. If not, then also after 48 hours of the first visit, you should reassess the child in your hospital setting. Okay, so counseling regarding the disease also very, very important, and follow up.
Okay.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Very good presentation. Very
The
good
other
presentation.
risk factor you should be searching for, since this child had 2 episodes of pneumonia, any other socioeconomic risk factor you should actively search for, like indoor smoking or overcrowding. Probably this uh, in this case overcrowding was present, and then a poor ventilation. Those things you should try to address in this case.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that could be adding to the present
Oh,
episode. Okay,
okay, sir.
a very good presentation, as Dr. Anusha had mentioned.
Yeah,